Hey guys, good morning. My computer's making a noise because I just made you a video trying to describe these people they were placed in my life, and I just started looking up every person I dated, every girl that I knew, everyone. All right. So Catherine Wilshire, aka Catherine Lincoln, she works for the FBI. She also owns something called Xipeng International. Xipeng International reminded me of the Z1 fugitive status that we found on that that board where the people aren't allowed to work, so that other people have to give them charity, and at some point they do the times up thing where they cash it out, right? But if that's not good enough because the person is a good person and doesn't have debt on their own, then their own father, also a federal agent, is taking out bankruptcies against the person as a hate crime. Okay, now look at this. Tammy Sue Neptune, aka Mary Rose, has to do with a shipwreck. Whoa. There's the one I'm going to put up. Okay. So, for later ships with the same name, see HMS Mary Rose. There's a Mary Rose play. And let's do this. I want to show you this. She served for 33 years, the ship, in several wars against France, Scotland, Brittany. After being substantially rebuilt in 1536, she saw her last action on July 19th, 1545. She led the attack on the galleys of a French invasion fleet, but sank in the Solent. I'm not sure what this is. She sank in the Solent. Okay, Soylent Green. This looks very similar to Soylent Green. ENT is ear, nose, throat, right? Soul is the soul of a person. It's also the sun. Now, I want to show you this. The wreck of the Mary Rose, aka Tammy Sue Neptune, was discovered in 1971 and raised on October 11th by the Mary Rose Trust in Portsmouth. Its primary aims are to preserve, display, and spread knowledge about the 16th century warship Mary Rose. Okay. Now, I know this sounds crazy. The artifacts, the surviving section of the ship, and thousands of recovered artifacts are of great value as a Tudor-era time capsule. The excavation and raising of the Mary Rose was a milestone in the field of maritime archaeology. Okay, this is weird. There's something... Okay, the Mary Rose site is designated under the Protection of Wrecks Act, 1973, by statutory instrument. This is very important for you guys to look into. The wreck is a protected wreck managed by Historic England. The finds include weapons, sailing. It's so weird. I was looking at something, and I guess I lost it. There's one where they turn it over to people called Receiver of the Wreck. Receiver of the Wreck. And in the Receiver of the Wreck, it started talking about royal fish how they are holding on to royal fish. And for some reason, I can't find it now. So basically, I think, like, even though I just did a whole video on what they did, we're actually, the Mary Rose site is designated under the protection. So the wreck is a protected wreck managed by Historic England. But this isn't showing. Let's see the naming. The naming of it. So they're calling it Holy Spirit. But I really wanted to show you. Now I can't find it, you guys. I did find this, the Mary Rose Trust. I just want to show you who, what, how, where. Education, training, arts, culture, heritage, science. Who the charity helps: elderly, old people, people with disabilities, the general public. Provides human resources. You guys, that's a person. They're providing people under the act. Sponsors or undertakes research. But look at this. Look at the trustees. This is the Mary Rose Trust. It's held in England. Here's the number. Look, it's got 277 at the top, but remember, 77 is a huge number in the things that we look at all the time at 503. Trustees are the people responsible for controlling the work, management, and administration of the charity on behalf of its beneficiaries, which is the Queen, the royal family, right? Because they're holding what is considered royal fish. And the receiver of the wreck, is row your boat gently down the stream. Row, ROW, receiver of the wreck. So look at some names. We got Peter Hudson, Nigel Keith Pearce, Adam Humphreys, Professor Susanna Rebecca Gabriella Lipscomb. Again, there's that comb. Dr. Janet Elizabeth Owen. Professor Van Jonathan Gore. Timothy Mark Resby. Christopher John Brandon. Helen Bonser Wilton. Sophia Mary Weston. Rupert Gray. Alan Charles Lovell, right? This is weird because this person named Lovella Peters, it might be just, a made-up name, but when you go on to one of those ancestry sites, you can see directly who she's related to, which is a very, very big family. One of the biggest families in Los Angeles. Dr. Robert Bewley. And these are other charities that they're on. Charity boards. The Mary Rose Trust. Now remember, when I was looking up Neptune, Tammy Sue Neptune, it said AKA Mary Rose. Okay, so it's under jurisdiction of the Queen, because we are considered royal fish. All right, so let's look at the receiver of the wreck. Receiver of the wreck and royal fish under the Mary Rose shipwreck. All right. So, let's see. The bones of pigs and fish. Right. Deciding what to do when a royal fish is stranded. So this becomes very different, like, you know, receiver of wreck also takes on the task of disposing of the royal fish. All right. Receiver of wreck, 100 artifacts which have been declared to the UK receiver of wreck. I mean, it's just Post Office Directory, Customs, Receiver of Wreck, Superintendent of Mercantile, Marine, Royal Dock. But what they're doing is they're putting women here, royal fish. Okay, if we're royal fish, we're worth a lot of money, and then they're basically asking the people, the community, to torture the person to death, literally to death, by not allowing the person to work, by not allowing the person to bear children. Receiver of a wreck, Mary Rose ship. Cod bones from Mary Rose reveal a globalized fish trade. History of the Mary Rose. But I salvaging the Mary Rose, his involvement in the demolition of the wrecks of Royal George, deciding what to do with a royal fish. You guys, come on. So Sophia Exelby holds a position of receiver of wreck and has the responsibility of deciding what to do when a royal fish is stranded. Come on. We deal with everything from modern ships losing their cargo to historically important wrecks like the Mary Rose. Tammy Sue Neptune. Okay. Why are they historically important? Because they might be part of the lineage of the royal family. That is why. But the person doesn't get to know or get any benefits from the trusts. So they're kept as slaves in America under the jurisdiction of the Queen. That is crazy. That is crazy. So let's look at this. Sophia Exelby is the receiver of wreck and responsible for all royal fish. Rod Penrose is the marine stranding I can't speak, coordinator for whales and has to carry out examinations of such creatures that are washed ashore. Rod Penrose. Both have been involved since the 60-foot mammal was washed up. Okay, so they're showing this, but it's not this. It's people, you guys. What to do when a royal fish is stranded. A whale, porpoise, dolphin was once considered a lucrative haul for the oil and others that could be salvaged from the carcass. So again, in America, they kill you on paper, even though you're under this jurisdiction. And so you're born probably in England. I had a British accent when I was a little girl. And then you're brought here and then stripped of your name. So nobody can figure out like where you came from. And then they tell the community you are a So again, he has to take their bodies to Liverpool University or London Zoo for post-mortem examinations to find out the cause of death. He has to identify the species and take samples from it. Okay, it's not a fish, you guys, it's a person. And all you have to do is listen to Nirvana's song about fish not having any feelings, because we're royal fish under jurisdiction of the Queen, being kept as slaves in America. see if I can find something more about those. This is weird.